Foreign universities have massive recruitment operations in Nigeria. It is very difficult to find a Nigerian school that does not have some form of promotional posters or leaflets selling a foreign university outside of Africa to the SSS 3 pupils. For this to actually result in Nigerians following the SACE leaflets and leaving our country to study abroad, the education systems of those countries must be sold as better than Nigeria's. What is quite sickening for me is that they market this as helping us to get us out of our bad country and study abroad, where we can get taught properly, because their education system is better than ours, when it is quite clear from their income alone that these countries need our money. I mentioned before in an earlier video about Nigeria versus the UK that in 2021-2022, the UK made £1.9 billion in direct income from Nigerian students and their dependents. This was almost 0.1% of the UK's total GDP that year. That was direct income. It does not include the extra indirect income from students and their families when they pay for rent, food, transport to and from university, clothing, etc. And these people try to sell themselves as though they are saving our young people from our country's bad, insecure, criminal situation, when it is we, Nigerians, that are clearly helping the UK to prevent them falling into poverty after the COVID-19 pandemic and the economic consequences of Brexit. It is not just the UK that is doing this. Many countries with a strong foreign media presence in Nigeria are luring our people away with promises of opportunity. But when our sons and daughters actually arrive in those foreign places, they are denigrated for probably being Nigerian criminals who are only managing to pay over double the standard university fees because of their parents' criminality. The fact that our children are propping up their economies does not prevent our children receiving race-based abuse and discrimination from people who are clutching at a delusion of their own significance, that their 1%, their so-called elites, have fed them to keep them in their place, whilst using our citizens to pay their pensions. When the foreign media talks down on our country's educational capability, said that it needs improving, and then their businesses hawk foreign education courses, then this is a clear attempt to prevent us improving our educational capability. If they really wanted to support Nigeria, then these foreign countries would be giving assistance to get our own courses and institutions formally recognized by their educational councils. However, if they did this, then they would not be able to utilize one of their current money-making schemes. Every Nigerian who has been taught to our standards currently has to spend money on an additional year of study at a foreign university before they are allowed to start their course. Almost everywhere outside the continent of Africa does this. And at the same time as they are declaring that our teaching standards are not good enough, they are actively and preferentially recruiting Nigerian teachers to teach in their own schools. In June 2022, the UK changed its policy on recognizing foreign teachers under their qualified teacher scheme. They extended the scheme beyond the European Union to accept teachers from Nigeria and other African countries. Additionally, they have removed the need for teachers from those countries to even meet the QTS standard for the first 4 years of working in the UK, as long as the teacher is recognized as competent by our own Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria. So, effectively, the UK has recognized the competency of our education systems, but does not want to do so formally, because then they would have to pay our teachers a full salary as a fully trained teacher. Wouldn't be able to kick out our teachers after getting 4 years of cheap labor out of them, and also would have no excuse for talking down on our educational institutions as a way to convince Nigerians to spend £1.9 billion a year on applying to study in the UK. Another example is Canada. In November 2022, Canada commended the quality of Nigeria's teachers and promptly asked our Teachers Registration Council if they could recruit 260 of them to work in Canada's schools. In Australia, in March 2023, whilst there is already a route for foreign teachers to be recognized as competent, a Nigerian foreign teacher can now work for up to 5 years in Western Australia with only provisional recognition, because Western Australia needs more teachers. In this, let me speak for a moment to Nigerian teachers in Nigeria. If you are watching this and thinking, oh, I can get a job in the UK, Canada, or Australia then, don't jackba and desert your students who need you. Your country that needs you. The people who are able to fix the problems in our country and ensure that other countries recognize our excellence are people like you. Running away to make your own personal life better, whilst understandable as a human, does not make you a proud Nigerian in a foreign land. It makes you an ashamed Nigerian in a foreign land, because you had the skills to fix your nation and you chose to abandon it. But for the rest of us, we as Nigerians must recognize our own, our teachers, and praise them so they wouldn't feel the need to leave. But let me get back to the way the foreign media is branding us as educationally incompetent to make money. Foreign countries luring our citizens away to become students is not just a way to maintain only their universities. They are also selling extended visa opportunities if you do postgraduate work at their universities, which is a way to take the best of our human capital at the most productive time in a person's life and capture all the intellectual property they may generate from academic research. The fruits of this are then sold back to Nigeria through their companies. But this time, they can ensure that a Nigerian face is presenting their narrative of how Nigeria should be compared against their own country, selling the propaganda of the foreign country being capable and competent, compared against Nigeria having all sorts of problems that only the foreign company can solve, which you as a Nigerian could be part of, just like this Nigerian employee in our shiny advert. Sorry, business news program, saying how working for this foreign firm changed their life. So basically, Nigerians are creating intellectual property for these foreign companies the intellectual property that they will use over the next 10 years to try and tell us and our children that they and their universities are better than us. But we created the very things that they are trying to hold over our heads as evidence of them being better than. Because of how lucrative this foreign education business can be, particularly when a student continues work afterwards in a country. Some countries have extended the period that a student can look for work after study. The UK used to only allow up to 3 months after studying. But in 2021, they extended this to 2 years for a bachelor's or master's degree and 3 years for a PhD. In Germany, you used to be allowed to look for a job for just 18 months after gaining a German degree, and you had to stay in Germany whilst you were job hunting. Now you can leave and still get a visa later on to then stay for 12 months to look for a job in your field of study. And many universities in countries where English is not spoken as an official language are creating courses that are taught in English to attract Nigerian students. I am not advocating that we should be supporting our people to take any of these options because they are all designed to extract intellectual property out of the heads of Nigerian students and into the hands of foreign companies. So whilst Nigerians are complaining on social media about our country having bad educational provision, other countries are looking at this as a money-making opportunity for themselves. These countries also see how much money Nigerians are willing to spend. And they know that if we spent the same amount of money at our own universities, then we wouldn't have any need to be complaining. They know that the way they are conducting their business to maintain their educational capability is preventing us from building our own capability. And they like it that way because they think it keeps us reliant on them. They need us to lose faith in ourselves.